everyone? It's your boy Darkpool Alga, and welcome to another, I don't know what I'm calling this, weekly futures review session? Weekly futures upcoming move session? I don't know. Just kind of an overall um, high level view of the futures market and potential targets and potential sports levels, I guess, is the best way to do it. I've been doing a lot of futures trading lately. Lots of prop firms just because, I guess that's the thing to do now. But had some great success. If it's futures and prop firms is something you're interested in, let me know. I may just start doing some streams or some videos specifically on that. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Looking at ES for this week. Nice retracement, to the 618, large move up. That move's been canceled out because we hit the 1414, which is my favorite fib target level. 127 is the general consensus. 1618 is termination of the current move. I like the 1414 because it's easily achievable, and the futures market reacts to it quite exceptionally well. Okay, so we retraced 618, move up. Now, if this is a continuation move up from this low, we pulled back, right? We held. Let me get rid of this guy right there. We held the 618, right? We dipped down below the 382, which a lot of people, the 382 is kind of like that line in the sand, right? If it closes below the 382, then the move is over, right? Whether it's up or down. And by closing, I look at the candle. If the candle closes more than 50% below, 1 second here. Sorry about that. All right, so I was talking about candles and where they close and what's considered a support, right? Looking at this candle here, it dipped down below the 382, but half of the body closed above the 618. So this move, this uptrending move, is still valid, right? At least 50% of this candle closed above the 50% and above the 618. So this is a continued, I consider this a continued move to the upside, right? So looking at, potential. We had a lot of news last week that may have affected some of these days, right? CPI, and then something came out on Friday. So obviously that can affect, but we're still uptrending pretty good. I haven't, really tried to draw like a trending channel or anything like that. But if I want to look at, let's try this again. All right, move up, support, move up. We hit some pretty significant resistance here. I think there's just a lack of liquidity in this area here, just because of the all-time high. There's not a lot of buyers or sellers, right? They're just still kind of getting placed for their positions. If I want to find some support, I'm going to bring it down to the 4-hour, right? And then we're going to look at this move here. So if I were to do a fib retracement from low to high. I always goof that up. From high to low, right? We came back down. We touched the 618, right? We came back up, tried to make a breakout. This liquidity grab got filled with bears, right? They came in. They're like, oh hey, right? We can continue to push this down. So looking into next week, if this move becomes invalidated, so from this low to this high, for it to become invalidated, I would need a 4-hour bar to close 50% below 49.83, right? And then we can look at a retracement up and continue to move down. If the longer term daily move, which is from this low to this high, holds, right? We've got the 618 here, which, right, looks like price kind of blew through the 50%, dipped down to the 382. So there's, liquidity grabs here, So there's, a lot of liquidity at this level from 42 up to, what is that, like 58 or 60, right? pushing higher, hit some significant resistance up in this level, and then, some sell-offs occurred. So if we continue to move down, right, and we get a 4-hour bar that closes below 49.83, at least half of the bar below that, then I'm going to look at 66 to the downside and 42 to the downside. If this 42 holds or the 66 holds, then we can look at a continuation move up from this larger term daily move from this low. If it just fails all the way through, then we would fib a retracement from the high, right, to the low, retrace extension down to lower levels. Okay, so if we were to extend this move out from this low to this high to this low, meaning 97.83 levels hold, initial target's going to be 5,092 and then 5110, right? Which has some symmetry with this longer term daily moves extension, right? From this low to this high, back extension at the 127, right? So upside targets, downside support. All right, moving on to NQ. Let's just bring this out to the daily. Looks a little clustered in here. So from this low to this high, we retraced all the way down to the 382, right? We tapped it and we could have gone, right? But since this was a liquidity grab, right, this may not be such a stronger uptrending move. Okay, move up, we hit a high, and then we immediately retraced. So to find some shorter term targets this week, right, down to the 4 hour again, from low to high, retraced 618, blew through that, blew through the 50%, but the 382 held, right? So if we get a continuation move down in NQ where a 4 hour bar closes below the 382 level, which is 720, then we're going to look for 646 and then 546 to hold. If those levels don't hold, then we've got a nice retrace. We've got a nice move down to the downside. Let's see if I can get. Right. So this downtrending move is invalidated. We would look at a new move from this high, or this high to the low, retrace, and a continuation move to the downside. This level holds. All right, we've got a daily move. Okay, so I already did the extension. So from this low to this high, if this support level holds, right, if this retracement holds, initial extension puts this at 157, then 226, right? We have some symmetry for this move here is the 1618, which corresponds with the daily 127 at 25 to 66. Okay. NQs, that's NQ both ways. Hey. All right, looking at YM, which I don't really trade the Dow. So I'm not super versed with it, but you know, if we were to use some Fibonacci levels here, daily 127 was hit. We tapped out at the 1414. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove this and say that this move is completed. Leave this initial retracement from this low to this high. Pretty decent support level there. We tapped out this 1618, so we'll remove that guy. Up retrace, that was that last one. Gonna go ahead and just remove that guy. All right, and then it starts getting a little wonky. Low to high, retrace held, right? So the 127, so technically this move is over, right? But I feel like there's a little bit more that can be given. Because if I were to extend this retracement from that high to that one, right? So if this is the move, and we take the extension from low to high, we held the 382 and we started an uptrend. So pull back. So if we look for a shorter term move in the Dow, we would go from, I don't like grabbing the last 4 hour bar, to be honest with you. Let's grab retracement high to low. The 618 of this current 4 hour move lines up with our daily 618 from the longer term move. So we do have support, potential support level here, right? I would kind of prefer to do this one. I don't like grabbing the wicks of downtrending bars since this was the last move. So I would look for support at somewhere between 591 and 571, or down to 462 to 481 as a 618 50% retracement. These two levels here pretty much line up with the daily, so I feel like there's some pretty good support here. If we do pull back, continuation move up. If we're looking for an extension from this low to this high, then we would just extend it out. High, low, right? 127 puts us at 071 or 76, 185. But I like how the 1618 and the 127 line up, so I'm going to say 311, 342 might be the longer term move for YM. All right, checking out Russell. I do like trading the Russell. All right, let's see what we've got going on here. So from low to high, 382 held, couldn't continuation move on. All right. This 50% retracement from this low to this high held. So kind of a choppy, right? Potential Wu-Tang reversal. But we did close out above that, so we can remove that guy, right? This shorter term retracement, this bar right here. See how the 382, let me just get closer here. So from this low to this high, we retraced down to the 382, but 50% of the bar didn't close below it, and we also had the 50% daily retracement here to provide some support. So the support level held. Now we're trying to move back up. So if we were to, 1 second here. Sorry, I had something I had to take care of. Where were we? Let's see, low to high, extension, 127 was hit, so we could remove that. I do like leaving the 618 as potential support. If we were to go extension of this low to this high, 97 would be the first target, and 117. Just want to make sure that this is the retracement. Yeah, I feel pretty comfortable with that. I'm going to leave this level of support here because it's pretty significant. I'm just going to say 75 to 80. Pretty significant level of support on the Russell. Bringing it down to the 4 hour, we've got, yeah, those held. Shorter term move, if we wanted to take a look at that. Right, we haven't retraced on it, so there is potential for retracement on the 4 hour, right? Down to, I would say, 9 to 12. Maybe tapping 93 and then continuing on. But like I said, if we get a 4 hour close of the candle at least halfway below 98, then this uptrending move is invalidated, and we should look at a downturn down to these levels, 40 to 50 potentially. Shorter term extension targets, or I'm just going to say, yeah, that 127, so 97 to 103, and then 16 to 19. So those are some pretty achievable targets that would complete some of the larger term moves, right? Especially this low to this high, and bring it back down to the daily, bring it out to the daily. this low to this high, retrace extension, right? Low to high, retrace extension. So looking for the Russell to make continued move up this week. If not, then we definitely have some support levels that we can look at. There's a lot of symmetry at 71 to 78, so that might be the new baseline for the Russell. All right, looking at gold. From what I understand, gold had a pretty interesting week last week. If I can get this to show here. All right, this looks like, a pretty standard. There's a word for this, but I don't want to whiff it. Looks like consolidation to me, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there was a gap. See the gap on the contract rollover? Well, that got filled by gold. Pretty decent level of support here for continuation move up. All right. So from this high to this low, right? If it was a downside move, it would retrace. We never got any candles closing below the 382 retracement, so this is still a downside move, right? Or above, right? So we can't say this move's been invalidated and it's an uptrend. So it pushes it back down, right? Makes a higher low. So we look at a retracement from this high to this low, right? Still didn't get a close down below, so this is a consolidated, not a consolidation, but yeah, consolidation levels. There's, I'm sure, a bunch of billion different terms for what this longer term move looks like, but flag, possibly bear flag. I mean, it could be a bear flag forming. This is just a big liquidity grab up here, right? So price is compressing so that when it retakes this level, it's just not a bunch of bears pushing it down. There's not just a bunch of liquidity up there being grabbed and sold off quickly. All right, let's look at this move here. If I were to fib this retracement, we would see the 382 and the 50%. The 618 actually held. The 50% held. So we could look for a larger term move to the downside for an extension. So where would that extension land us? So we go from high to low to high, and we see we tap the 127, we tap the 1414, we tip tap the 618. So this downside move has been completed. So now we're looking for an upside move, but we don't have any sort of targets for that. So we would look at initial move would be back up to 2050, 57, and then 62, 63. But there would need to be some sort of retracement. So where are we going to retrace? Waiting to get a down day in gold. And then I would be able to look at the retracement to the extension. You can also look at nice move up, 127, 1414, continuation move up. So with gold this week, I'm going to look at initial target at 2040, 50, 57, 60. And then I'm going to refib everything. It's just, yeah, it's a little rough. But it's pretty pattern driven. So yeah, that's my gold anticipations. Don't really trade gold that much. Consolidation, retracement, extension. Do we have? Right, we do kind of have a retracement from low to high, retrace, extension out. It's there on the 4 hour. I kind of like the daily ones. I'm going to stick with my daily targets, right? We're going to look at 240, and then a nice move up, probably a consolidation move up to 250, 57, 63, which would wipe all this out, and we could fib everything. All right, crude. All right. If you remember, I said I kind of want to stay away from crude, right? High to low, retrace, extend it out. So now the longer term move from high to low, retracement of, we didn't get a close back above the 618, so this downtrending move was still valid, right? This bar doesn't count because it's not 50% above this. So once we get a solid bar close above, let me just remove this so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. So if it's a downtrending move, right, the 618 for the downside move is still holding. It does look like an inverse head and shoulders, so I'm waiting for a daily close above 78.19. Now if we get a little closer, right, and we go from high to low, we got to close above this bar right here, closed above the 618, retracement from this high to this low. So now we're in an uptrend. Okay. So the extension second here, activate drawing. Low to high retracement, continuation. This uptrending move tapped out, so it can be removed. Now, do we have a retracement from this low to this high? Yep, we got a close above the 382, so this downtrending move is tapped out. Now we just do the same thing. We go from high to low, so if this is an uptrending move, we hit the 618 and we're continuing to move up. If I wanted to do an extension, it would be from this low to this high, back down to this low, gives me 80, 87, 91 target, which is a 50% retracement from previous high to previous low, right? So the 618, so downtrending 618 retracement, 50% retracement, these two levels are holding. Shorter term uptrend targets would be a close above 78.15, then I would look at 80.89, then the 50% retracement, which is 81.12. So up, back up to clear out these levels, right? Uptrending crude wouldn't occur until we got a close above the 382, which is 84.59, which is almost a 200% extension from this downside move, right? We like low gas prices though. So inverted head and shoulders, potentially move back up, but I'd like to see it move back down. Yeah, we got a lot going on with crude. Okay. ZB's 30-year bonds, right? 618 tap out. We can remove that guy. Move that guy. Downside move, right? High to low. 618 held, so that gives us a downside target. The 1414 that I keep talking about got hit, right? Immediately bought up, right? 50% held, 318 held, right? Of the high to the low, and then larger move down to the 1618, right? Do you see why I like the 1414? Because if you're doing a target, if you're looking for an extension target, 1414, the 127 gets hit, the 1414 gets hit too, but this 1414, for some reason, it's like a line in the sand, right? And if I was looking to target the 1618, right, if I had shorted here, right, at the high to target the 1618, I would have had to hold that short for, since the beginning of the year, end of last year, right, when I could have took the 1414 target and only held it for, what is that, like 2 weeks, because it was immediately right back down to support, or right back up to support, and then finally tapped out. So this move, I mean, we could consider this move completed to the downside, or we can take this high to low and look for a continuation move to the downside, right? So that would mean a move up in bonds to 382, or sorry, 120.14, 21.9, and 22.3. Above 22.3, we're going to get an uptrend. Now, keep in mind, when bonds are up, the market typically is down. Okay. Bringing it down to the 4-hour. Right. Sorry about that. All right, so from high to low, retrace up to 118.23, 118.30. What I'd like to see happen is we 618 and we look for an extension move down for a continued longer term move down, right? Because I like bonds to be down. So we go from high to low to high. Gives us a downside target 117, 18, 02, and 14. Right? That's if 1816 holds, look down. If it doesn't, then I would look for a continuation move up to 1830, retrace, continuation up. All right, and then finally, last but not least, and I appreciate you hanging out with me, we're looking at the Japanese yen. Okay, so from high to low, retrace 618 held, so we've got an extension level. Well, look, there's that 1414 again. Again, look at it held, right? And then final push through to the 1618, and then some additional moves to the downside. So if we want to adjust this, right, we would say that that high and this low are what completed this longer term move. So we would go from there to there, and from here to there. Oh, look. Imagine that. Move down, retraced the 618, it held. Longer term move down, 1618 held out too. So let's move our fibs if we're looking for a continuation move down in the Japanese yen. All right. We didn't quite get the 1618, so we may get some additional moves to the downside. Right. 127 would be almost previous low. 1414 would be a new low, right? As long as the yen is down, our market is usually doing pretty well. Right? I like to see the yen down. Okay. All right. Let's just. Yeah, I think that's about it. If you have any questions, make sure you hit me up in the comment section below. Like, subscribe for more videos. Let me know what kind of content you're interested in. If you guys are interested in starting some prop firms, let me know. I've got some resources for you. I do know that FlowTrade has got some prop challenges in the works to be able to just trade everything. Your one-stop shop. FlowAlgo Index Indicator kind of lets you know exactly what's going on in the market. With that being said, appreciate your time. Let me know if you have any questions. Have a great day.